Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this. I've got a smile on my face because it's a bit like friendsreunited.com, only it's on Cannon Fodder TV. You notice there's a familiar face bottom right, but I'll get into the introductions on the other side of this music intro. Today's Friday. Friday means, it's the Easy Talk. Yeah, the Easy Talk. There's no talk about latex today, Gary. Yes. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans. Gary. The channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. You notice I've got a full house again, a full house. But before I get into the intros, please make sure you subscribe to Cannon Fodder TV. Hit the bell notification button so you can receive all the latest news right here. We've got a full house. Let me do the quick intros. Yeah, I've got Gary, DWTT. Gary, how are you, mate?
Doing good. Yeah, I'm surviving. So
it's surviving. Hey, quick question actually. Why DWTT? Where did that come from?
It actually stands for Don't Waste the Trip. Basically,
okay.
Inspirational message I like to give myself, and I say it all the time to my kids, and they're like, "Stop it!" But I say, you know what? You can live your life that way, and you don't waste any opportunities. Then you'll be okay. So.
Okay, cool. Jonathan, my friend in Colombia, how are you?
Hey, Alex, how are you? A really good day in Colombia. Very sunny in Bogota. Bogota is cold, but in this moment is very sunny. Very anxious with the match for tomorrow. I'm waiting the best. Ready. I'm ready.
LTL, the original Godfather. How are you, Godfather?
Yeah, I'm still rocking and rolling, and still happy about our second match against Southampton, and looking forward to the match tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think you're going to play a little ditty for us, aren't you, later on towards the end of the live show on your guitar? You got your guitar ready?
I've got my guitar there. I've got my piano there. I've got a couple of dancing girls, so that's all you need these days.
Have you got any latex? Anyway, no.
Obviously, it must mean something to you because you keep saying it. You can't get it out of your mind, right? Must remind you of something. I don't know. I'm just,
Hey, wait.
I'm sorry.
And last but not least, it's been a long while. Richard, welcome back.
Thank you for inviting me back.
I think you're probably the oldest, one of the oldest panelists, contributor on the Cannon Fodder TV. But how you been keeping?
Yeah, I've been keeping all right. I've been working through this whole pandemic that we're in. But, keeping safe, still keeping up to date with Arsenal as much as I can. Probably not as much as content on my channel as I would like, but, onwards and upwards is still supporting mighty Arsenal. Nice one.
Brilliant. So you know what? So we've got a full house, and I think we better get into the nuts and bolts of everything else. So the first one, actually, it's quite fresh in the mind, was the second game against Southampton. What you can see there, Hudson was trying to get and maybe attack our manager, Mikel Arteta. Maybe it's not the best artwork there. Gary, your thoughts, please, on the second game.
Well, one, I'm happy that we got something out of it because of the way that we ended the last game. I wasn't a little surprised with the first game that we had against them because of our squad, and when we made the changes that we could have, we got some of our stronger players in there. We saw the difference, and that's kind of where we are right now. We're pretty strong with our starting 11, but then we have to go to the bench. The performance and performance drops off, and that's the scary part right now, is that we got to keep these guys healthy, but we also got to give them rest, right? So that's what we're hoping for this weekend. A lot of those guys came out of the game early. The Milsworth and Partey, hopefully they're healthy, and Kieran is also going to come back. Hopefully we can get all three of them back, because I think we're going to need them. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a boring game, even though I think many think that's going to happen anyways. But for us, we need to have our strong side out there, especially for this game.
Yeah. And does the strong side include Nico Pepe for you?
You know, I am on the fence because I don't believe he is. If I was going to rank our depth for the positions that Pepe plays, he's behind Saka on the right. He's definitely behind Aubameyang on the left, and I think he's behind Martinelli as well. You know, that's kind of where I am with where he is. So I feel like if Martinelli is healthy, then he should play. If I believe Aubameyang is not going to play, so it all depends on where we are in terms of health, and that's kind of, you know, I think he can come in and do a job, and it actually would be good for him to get back-to-back games. But if this were a different situation where Martinelli was just coming back from an injury, a regular injury, not one that he's, we continually have him in and out of the lineup. But if he was just part of a regular cycle of moving players around, Martinelli would just come back in, right? Because he would sit ahead of Pepe. So part of me wants to see Martinelli come back because I like him, but also I want Pepe to actually grow because I want us to get something out of him in terms of, seeing better performances from him from game to game. So, another game with a Millsworth row behind him, I think would be a plus. And, the way that Partey helps out that middle allows for even more space for him to move and excel. So I don't care which way they go, Martinelli or Pepe. Pepe is in form because he just played, but we still need a lot more from him, right? I know what we're going to get from Martinelli, so I kind of I'm happy to go that way. But either way, I'll be fine because of what we've seen so far.
And Richard, for you, how do you see the second game against Southampton? We finally overcame them, beat them 3-1. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I know we didn't have in total for the whole game. We didn't have the most majority of possession. It was mainly Southampton that overdone it. They caught us on the set pieces as well, which was very, very dangerous. But I think Partey played good when he came on. It was a lot better. It was more attacking compared to what it was in the FA Cup. I think in the FA Cup, we was missing that cutting edge. We was missing that creativity in the middle. And I think in the Premier League game, we got it in terms of Smith Rowe. So it helped. The team was more driven. They was more motivated. I think they was more focused on the Premier League than they were the FA Cup. But overall, it was a good performance.
Yeah. I totally agree, actually. Jonathan, your thoughts about the Southampton game, 3-1 to the Arsenal?
There are good impressions. There are good situations like Cedric on the left. But for me, the best impression is that Partey gives something special to the team, gives something different to the team. I think he was the right decision to get to the team in this year. It's clear that the team is different. The other good thing that I saw is that we have a good pressure in their field, a good pressure in front, and that is very good. But when they discover how to break that pressure, we stay like in two blocks different, and that is something that we have to fix. But it's very good to see the team pushing in the other field. Partey give me an excellent impression, because there is something that I always say, and this Arsenal in the last month has something very, frustrating for me, that when we have the ball and we can go to front, we always come back and make a pass to the left, to the right, or behind me, but that is not good. But Partey always try to solve that situation and to looking for the pass to the front, and that is very, very good. A good impression for me. Partey is the key man.
Jonathan, would you keep the same team to play against Manchester United, or would you change the team?
Tierney is our left back. That is not. I would like to see Walbriel. We say Walbriel here in Colombia. It's a wall. I know that he did a bad job in the FA Cup, but some things happen, and maybe the COVID. I don't know what, but we have to give him the chance. He's the 3 months winner of the Player of the Month. So the same thing with Tierney, with Gabriel, and I don't know Awa is participating or not. Maybe Martinelli, maybe Pepe could start and Martinelli to do a second time, maybe. But the same thing, yes. Tierney and Gabriel. That's it.
Okay. Godfather, your summation of the game against Southampton.
I mean, I think we definitely played a much weaker team, obviously, in the FA Cup match. And I personally think that behind that, somebody called Stanley Enos Kroenke is whispering in Arteta's ear that he needs to get Champions League football. And I think we kind of took a chance, a gamble, tried to play some of our, if you like, reserve players, second team players, and it didn't work. And unfortunately as well, Southampton played their sort of best team. And then for the return match, as it were, the EPL match, we played out, as far as we could, our best team. And they played two rookie fullbacks. And as one of the players was interviewed afterwards, was it Smith Rowe, and was saying, you know, Arteta had pinpointed their weaknesses, and we all did we did very well through his coaching. I think it's worth saying, I've not heard anybody mention so far, I thought our pressing was good, and especially Laka. Now, I know Lacazette has often looked as though he's dragging a fridge behind him. Sorry, Gary, refrigerator.
Thank you for clarifying.
But I thought for a guy who's kind of not as mobile as most forwards, he really put in a massive shift. And even after 90 plus minutes, he was really giving it his best, because his job is to occupy both centre backs. Just keep them there, keep them busy, keep pressing them. I thought he did well. I thought the midfield, I watched them cutting down passing lanes. And the thing I took from it, apart from the fact that we're all delighted Arsenal won 3-1, was the fact that we worked hard. There was a real work ethic there. And it's not by accident that we've got rid of what I personally think were our troublemakers. It was interesting that as soon as we don't have the man who will not be mentioned, plus Kolasinac, suddenly there aren't any leaks. We had the awful, disgusting situation of a leak going on about a fight between players about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And as everybody knows, every ex-player has said, there are always fights. All from time to time, people go in a bit hard in training, and people square up to each other. You don't leak that, because it's not newsworthy, but newspapers will print anything these days. And I think it's great that they didn't make any mention about what Oba was going through. It didn't get leaked out. The man has got enough problems. Please God, his mum, by the sounds of it, is on the mend, which is great news. So I kind of felt there was a lot more team ethic in there. And if you take a long distance view, I think Arteta has done a very good job, because he's taken over as a young manager players that aren't a lot younger than him, some of whom he played alongside. And he's tried to crack the whip and be a good manager. He listens to people. He talks to them privately. It's not just all done in the open forum of the dressing room. You know, he takes people aside. He's doing all the right things. And I think we'll see the best of Arteta when he's finished the job, which he's trying to do now, of clearing people who he suspects of as not really giving their best. And as he said when he came in, if you're not going to give me 110%, that is not negotiable. You have to go. So I've really felt that our forwards and our midfield were really going at it. And some of them had only played a few nights before. So well played. And on the horizon, I can see big things for us. But at the end of the day, I really do think what he's trying to do is to get top 4. And if all else fails, please God, he's hoping that he might win the Europa League, because that also gets you into the Champions League. But I think that's his sort of main aim. But obviously he's not talking about it, because no manager in his situation does that, because it will appear a goal that's too far away. So the team are doing the right thing, taking it game by game.
Okay. Richard, I actually forgot to ask you, Richard, going into the game tomorrow, would you change the 11? Would you change some players, or would you keep the same players?
Yeah, I see. My 11 would be Lino in goal, and then my back four would be Cedric Soares. I'd have Holding and Gabriel as the two main centre backs, and then I would have Kieran Tierney left back, because I think he should be our captain, in my opinion. I've always wanted Tierney as captain. It's not like he hasn't been captain before. He's got the captain material as well, and he fights for the team. He gives 100%. My midfield would be Thomas Partey, because he gives that bit of stability in that midfield, and he's not afraid to track back to get the ball back as quickly as possible to get back onto the transaction. I would also have our new signing that we've just got, Odegaard. I would actually have him in and have him as a debut start and see how he gets on. It's going to take time for him to hit the ground running like it normally is for any player in the Premier League. So it's going to be tough for him, but it's nice to see what he can do and give him a chance to play against a top six side. Playing alongside Odegaard, I would actually go with Emil Smith-Rowe, if I'm being honest. I think Smith-Rowe, he's that number 10 that Mesut Ozil wasn't for us. And every time that we've been crying for creativity, there's been nothing in previous games. But since Emil Smith-Rowe's come in, he's created chances, he scored goals. It proves that he is a number 10 material. And if we give him the most chances that he can get in first team football, the better he will become. So I think that would be my midfield. As my front three, I would go with Lacazette up top, because his work rate, you can't fault it at all. So I'd go with Lacazette, and he's got a couple of goals as well. So he'll be confident to go and get a couple of more. I would go with Saka out on that left side, because I think it'd be a bit too soon for Martinelli to come in if he has got an injury. And then I would have Pepe out on the right.
Okay. Jonathan, I think I saw your face when Richard mentioned the Martin Odegaard. Would you play him?
No,
I see your face. Martin Odegaard?
No, my God, I cannot believe.
You know, I'm good at noticing the little, like, the facial expressions.
I was discussing this. Actually, I was discussing this with, I would like to mention them, is Arsenal Latin Online Fans. It's a chat group that we have in WhatsApp with people from Colombia, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Honduras, Argentina, Chile, Peru. I think I'm lost in one. Okay, I was discussing this about Martin Odegaard. We feel that he's the correct person to come to Arsenal to play alongside, but we think that he's like a support for Emile Smith-Rowe. I don't think he's playing by his side. I think he's playing like the 20 final minutes, or maybe in other matches he's the person who is starting and Emile Smith-Rowe with the last minutes. But I don't think in this moment, in this match against Manchester United, in their best moment in many years, we can play with someone who doesn't know how the other mates are playing. I think we need a team established team, and I don't think Martin Odegaard is going to start in this match. But you know, it's Arteta. Everything can happen. He has been playing cards, and it has worked in some times. And I think it could be, but I don't think so. But I would like to do a question for you all. Sorry, I know that we all understand that the situation for Aubameyang is difficult, and we know he is not participating, he is not playing this weekend. But don't you think that this could be a trick from Arteta and Aubameyang? Maybe a trick for Manchester. Hey, no, he's not playing. It's normal because we understand he cannot play. We understand the situation. But you know, the cards. I would like to do a flop. The as bajo la manga in Spanish is the name.
Gary, what do you think, Gary? Is it a trick to try and trick Man United?
Well, I like to say that a tiger doesn't change their stripes or a cheetah doesn't change their spots. I think from so far with Arteta, I don't see that from him because he doesn't seem to play games that often. He definitely keeps things close to the chest, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I don't think he's in a place in his career where he can probably do that, pull it off, and not lose, something out of it. So I don't think that's going to happen. And that's, similar to Jonathan when when I heard Richard talk about Erdegaard, I think is how I believe you say it.
Yeah.
playing, I would be surprised he does, because when we brought in Partey, who I believe at the time was healthy, we held him back. And he's more experienced than, Erdegaard is in terms of what he brings to the table. And we needed him and we held him back. So I would be surprised that he comes in, unless they've changed the way that they scout the players and they know a lot more than they did at the beginning of the season, which would be pretty good if that's the case. I mean, I would be surprised if he plays. And also, I always thought he was a backup anyway. So
yeah.
I think Emile Smith-Rowe needs to, the system that we have in place now, we were to change that and put in, Erdegaard in there as well. That I think that'd be a big system change. And the United game to me would be a risky time to do that. I mean, I can see us doing it later on after he's been in some games, coming in at, maybe for 30 minutes or so and then getting a start. But right now, I don't know if Arteta is going to change the system by bringing in Erdegaard, as opposed to having, for example, like, Partey and like, Ceballos sitting back there behind Emile Smith-Rowe, as opposed to having Partey sit back with two players in front of him. So I kind of feel like that's a big change. And it doesn't really fit with with what I've seen from Arteta in the past. So I'm expecting it to be a similar lineup, and instead of like Erdegaard being there, I would expect either Xhaka or El Neni to be in there, sitting there, kind of working with Partey, getting that ball up the field, especially in a game like this where I believe it's crucial for both teams to get something out of it, more probably for United than us, because of where they sit. And if they drop, I think that's gonna hurt them more than if we lose, because I believe we're still rebuilding and we're not all the way there yet. But for them, I think that would hurt. So I think they're going to be more likely on the brakes, trying to slow things down than and so I think the game hopefully will come to us, because if we get a lot of our players in that have been out, that'd be nice to have, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I don't think Arteta is going to do anything different than he's done so far. He doesn't seem like a person that's going to do that and make, kind of put up a smoke screen and then switch it as the smoke clears. He usually has a plan. A lot of times we don't like it, but he usually has a plan, and something like that, I can't see that. I mean, I don't see that. That doesn't even fit his kind of the character and the kind of the aura that I get from him, that he's going to play games like that. So.
Well, what about you, Godfather? Do you think Erdegaard might get some minutes tomorrow? Although I did do my morning segment, and there was a comment from the Evening Standard here, and Arteta is saying that they can play together, although Emile has earned the right to play, whereas Erdegaard still has to earn his stripes. But he's saying that it's possible they can play. Whether he plays tomorrow is a different thing. But what do you think, Godfather?
Yeah, I mean, I think Arteta is a master tactician. And everybody expected him to think, well, you've now got a player who plays in between the lines. You've got yourself a number 10 and in Emile Smith-Rowe, and now you've gone and bought another one. So it'll be 1 in, 1 out. But I like the way Arteta thinks outside the box. And he's obviously thinking of ways of playing both of them together. And he constantly makes little adjustments that make a big difference to the team. So a good example would be, back before Christmas, he played Saka wide right, so like an inverted winger, and he looked a bit average, didn't look as good as he had before. He was still finding all his new passing angles. But since he's reintroduced him there and he started playing, of course, he's got a good right foot as well as a phenomenal left foot. Suddenly, all the things that Pepe couldn't do, Saka can do. So then he's organised that, and then he said, right, I'll now put Pepe on the left. And of course, when we saw him play against Southampton, the second match, what he does best, and he did for Lille as well, he plays in that inside forward place. It's called, now on modern parlance, it's called the half space. So if you divided the attacking section into 5 with a centre forward in the middle bit and your wingers or fullbacks, wing backs on the wings, then the 2 inside forward places are known as half spaces. And everything I've seen of Pepe tells me he's a really good half space player. He's got a problem about where and when he receives the ball. Not quite sure. He's not very good with the ball with his back to the goal. But everybody probably has seen several times over, it's been on the net a lot, that lovely dribble he did where he nutmegged a few Southampton players, and he did wonderfully well because he's very good at close control. As long as players are spaced out a bit and he's got some space to beat one and then gallop a bit and beat the next one and so on. I think the thing that disappointed me most was our friend William, who I hate to keep putting him down, but I don't know if you guys have seen that same incident where William, it's blindingly obvious, and he's a 32-year-old experienced player. He knows he should have been galloping into eye line of Pepe. And then Pepe would have had the option of feinting to pass to him or maybe actually passing to him. It gives him several options and makes defenders unsure of which way to go. And William didn't. He just trotted. And that must have been talked about, maybe not in front of the whole dressing room, but I would have been pulling William in and say, if you do that again, the latex goes on.
I was going to say, I don't know if I can say something to that. I see William as that driver that sits in your blind spot. You just can't see him. You feel like you saw a car come by, but you're like, I don't see him. And you look around, you still don't see him. Pepe is looking. He's like, I know William just came on the field, and he's looking for him, and he can't see him because he's in a blind spot, and he just won't push on the gas. And even Pepe slows down, and he still can't see him. And that's kind of how I felt. Pepe was looking around, looking for that car in the next lane over, but they just wouldn't show up, and he kind of left them out to dry there.
Richard, what's your thoughts about William? I know you haven't been on the channel. What's your thoughts about William?
Well, he's not the signing I would have brought in. That's for sure. I think he was more or less a panic to buy in, to get in. He hasn't really hit the ground running whatsoever. It's like as if that Chelsea want to use Arsenal as a retiring home. That's pretty much what it seems like to me. But no, he hasn't really hit the ground running at Arsenal whatsoever. No goals really to score. Not really that many assists either. Has he really contributed to the team? I don't think so. So if it was me, I think in terms of the summer, I'd get rid of him.
Yeah, same here. Get rid of him. He needs to learn to run, William. Anyway, guys who's watching now, I've got a full house. I've got a crazy gang. Yeah, I've got a DWTT. Keeps calling me latex. I'm not sure why. I've got Jonathan from Colombia, Ghana. I've got Eltel, the original Godfather, of course, returning old friend, friendsreunited.com, Richard. Gary, you've got your own YouTube now, haven't you? Your own YouTube channel. You sly so-and-so.
I saw you and I wanted to emulate you. So yeah, I tried. I'm trying my hand at it. I'm not as good as you, but I'm trying, giving my own little spiel and my little thing on how I want to talk about Arsenal. So that's what I'm trying. It's a little small channel, DWTT on YouTube. If you check it out, I've got my segment, My Five, that comes out right after the games, where I kind of talk about 5 of the players that that I saw things in that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, check it out if you have the time.
Nice one. And Jonathan, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, Colombia Gunner or Arsenal Colombia Supporters. Arsenal Colombia Supporters is the official network. We cannot say rumors or anything like that because it's official in front of the club. So in Colombia Gunner, we say everything what we want to say. Colombia Gunner, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
There you go. Eltel, I know you're on social media. Would you like to promote your Twitter handle now?
Well, it's Gaelic, of course, which could be a trick for a few people, but it's at Turlock O'Hogan. So it's a kind of an Irish version, or actually Terry Hogan, which is my name, is an anglicised version of Turlock O'Hogan. So when the English came in, they tried to get rid of the Irish language, as all empires do. I'm not anti-British or anti-English or anything, but all empires try and sort of get rid of the culture. And luckily the Irish, and I know quite a lot of my Irish friends do tune in to this, And I just thought when I was forming a Twitter handle, why don't I go back to what my name would have been? So it's Turlock O'Hogan.
Okay, brilliant. Richard, you're not so active on social media these days, are you?
No, I'm not, especially not on my YouTube channel recently. I ain't been on my channel for nearly 5 months now. So I haven't really had time to put any content up whatsoever. But I know people have been subscribing to my channel considering I ain't been on there. But yeah, I am on Twitter. I am on Twitter as well. It's Richard AFC7. I'm over there. And I'll post whatever. So yeah.
Okay, nice one. Right, so let's probably get into the second segment. And I'm going to use Balogun as an example. He still hasn't signed a contract as yet. Where's his face? There he is, pointing at me or pointing at us. He hasn't signed a contract. And we spoke about him quite various times on Canon 40 over the last couple of weeks because he's got 6 months left on his contract. Now, there was a story which came out. Mikel Arteta said, well, we're happy with the player. He's happy to play for Arsenal. But there's one more element which hasn't actually agreed to the contract extension. And we're going to talk about, agents in the game, the power struggle between the club, the player, and the agent. I've got to use Balogun as an example. So here's my little thumbnail artwork. There's the player, Balogun. There's the money in between. And there's the agents. Looking a bit mysterious there, mysterioso. LTL, the agents of power.
Well, we are in a multi-million pound or billion-dollar game now. And we've spoken last week, I think it was, on the fact that we're going to have a European Super League coming, which is probably why Kroenke and a lot of the billionaires, Abramovich, and a lot of the American billionaires are buying into clubs. And I happen to be rereading this book, which is the Life in Football, Ian Wright, my autobiography. And a whole section came up that I thought, oh my goodness, this is right. I mean, this was written about 3 or 4 years ago, so it's fairly contemporary. And it really fits into this problem that the whole game has about so much money floating around and agents are picking up millions, if not billions, out of the game. So I'll give you an example now. This is from his book. This was when Leicester won the league a few years ago. And as their centre-backs, they had Wes Morgan and Robert Huth. People have barely heard of them. And it says here, the big clubs, this is Ian Wright talking, the big clubs wouldn't even look at Wes Morgan or Robert Huth because instead of scouting players, the big clubs will get on the phone to one of their agents and say, I'm looking for a top player in this position. And if the first agent hasn't got one, he'll get on to another agent. And it might involve some money. Hey, money moving around. But in the end, they'll get their man because it will pass through the hands of several agents. And then Ian Wright goes on to say, just to paraphrase him, that when he was at Crystal Palace, he didn't have an agent at first. And some of the players like Mark Bright that he came through were saying, good, because we don't need agents. And then a few of the younger players started getting agents. And Ian Wright here says that some of the younger guys thought it was a rite of passage. Hey, man, I've got an agent. And apparently you can ring up the agent 24/7 and you can say to the agent, this is Ian Wright now, I need a car. And bam, you get a car. You say to the agent, I need some trendy clothes. I need to go to a restaurant now. Bam, you got the clothes. Bam, you and your partner, your girlfriend are in the restaurant in half an hour. And he said, this is happening to some players, this is when he was at Palace, that are still living at home with their mum and dad. So it kind of, it's infiltrated. And then, and this is really worrying, listen to this. It then says, if you go behind an agent's back, because a club comes in for you, and you go in and you talk to the club, which is your legal right. This is Ian Wright saying, the agents go berserk if you do a deal or even talk to somebody without them involved. Okay? And the agent will then get in touch with whoever and go absolutely crazy. And then he talks about him not having an agent. And what he says as a solution, which I thought was interesting, was he says, when it comes to changing clubs or getting paid or putting in for a pay rise, a player can either find a lot of stuff out for himself, or it's all available at the PFA, the Professional Footballers Association. They won't tell anybody who's earning what, but a player can find out, a player of his stature can find out of a player of a similar stature at a particular club ought to be getting in terms of wages and bonuses, and then negotiate from there. And he says, personally, I'd like to see the PFA take that a bit further and appoint somebody to negotiate on behalf of players. And it talks as well about, obviously, big players will have contracts with either Nike or Adidas and so on. He says, and all those can be negotiated because it's no secret what people are getting paid. So he's now getting worried, he says, about the way commercialization has broken out, but people are making money off how well you're playing. So he says, my agents were making a fortune off me commercially, and I was the one that was having to do all the hard work. So if you take that, that's in his book there, to show it again. It occurred to me that there is and we had it at the very beginning with, unfortunately, George Graham. He obviously, he met his demise because they found his fingers in the till. And the word on the ground was George was the only one who was a sacrificial lamb because there was so much of it going on. And I'm sure it's continued. And hence you've got the big money people that are coming into the game now. And I was just reading, this is very much up to date. I was reading it this morning, that the FA have no right to stop clubs negotiating a European Super League. Okay, they're legally allowed to do that, and they've got 10 or 20 clubs. I think 20 clubs in mind. Luckily, Arsenal, or you might not say luckily, you might say unluckily, but Arsenal are one of the teams. Liverpool as well, and so on. All the teams you'd expect. And they've got teams from Spain, 3 teams from Spain, 2 or 3 from Italy, that kind of thing, 2 or 3 from Germany. And it'll be a closed shop. It'll be, once you're in, a bit like American sport. Gary will fill us in on this. There's no relegation. You're in. You're paid a big chunk of money just to be in, and then you're paid a big chunk of money after that. And it occurred to me that what we've really got now, we can't really see it because we're on ground level, but there is big money washing around between clubs. We know when, sorry to keep going, I know I want to bring other people in, but when Raul left, none of us knew why he left. He just suddenly left. I think some guy called Lewis, one of the guys who works for Stan Kroenke, came over and took one look at the finances, and suddenly Raul's gone, and very shortly after him, Hus Fahmy. So, and quite rightly, Arsenal have hushed it up and not made a big thing of it, but there's something at the core wrong. We had Sven Mislintat go because Raul said we aren't going to be looking at bringing players in on stats and stat DNA. We're going to be using agents, and now we've flipped again, except we're now bringing in youth players, and it's
Jonathan,
not healthy. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I need to. Sorry,
Sorry.
Jonathan. You know, I didn't realize that Kevin De Bruyne doesn't have an agent. He does all the negotiations himself. But what's your thoughts about agents in football making so much money from the players?
Yeah, from the business perspective, it's a logical and a natural response, because the player must focus in what he does, that is play in the operation. This is a business in the operation, and he needs someone behind him in the back office. You know, the big problem in this is that most of these agents, or not most, I cannot say that. Some of these agents are thinking in the player, but maybe not. They are not thinking in the reputation, or maybe are not thinking in the ethics. You know, in something like the fans follow teams and follow players and give some love. You know, and where there is love, money is important, but love is is also important. So I think some of these agents doesn't care about ethics, about fun, about the love of the fans. So maybe make some bad decisions instead of the player. But from the business perspective, is a natural response. Is the logical. I think what the players or what the FA or what the regulators have to do is to focus on to teach the players to choose right person to managerial, because what is happening with Balogun and Nketiah is something that cross lines in business. That is something called judge and part, juez y parte, and cannot be the same the same agent of the two players that are trying to, because something bad will happen. And I think Balogun is leaving, and I think we are losing him without anything, without money. And I think we have given him a lot of opportunities. He has grown in the team, in the club, and the club is losing because an agent has his own hands inside of it. So I think we need more ethics in the business, and that is a business,
But Jonathan, so let me ask you a quick question. So do you think the bigger problem is the amount of money that the agents, the commission that they get from the contract, or do you think it's just, like you say, the ethics? The ethics is the bigger problem with the agents. What
is together, because you cannot enter to regulate a business because it's a free market. You cannot enter to regulate, and you cannot earn more than this money because you start to regulate, and in some way it will be worse because the agent can't negotiate under the table or do something back. That is not part of the. I think we have to educate, and I think we need to teach to these agents that the love, the fans, and the love for the club and the ethics are important, because the money is there and the big money is there, and if they are not well educated, they will take these decisions. I think is more education what we need in this way, to the players that are choosing agents, but also to the future agents and to the actual agents. It's difficult. It's difficult because
money.
Money.
Richard, your thoughts?
Well, I think Kevin De Bruyne is doing the right thing in not having an agent whatsoever, because I think, in my opinion, it's down to the player where he feels happy to play and how much money he wants to get. The agent should not take any money whatsoever, because he's not the one that's going out on that field every week to play a game. He's not the one who's doing it. So I think Kevin De Bruyne has done the right thing not to have an agent, because it could possibly happen. What about if, let's say, there was a young player that he was doing so well, he won the Premier League with his club, won the Champions League, and next minute he gets a contract from one of the biggest European clubs, say Real Madrid, for instance. What happens if that agent goes to that place and it turns around, it was actually a fake contract and Real Madrid wasn't even interested in that player in the first place? So this is what agents need to watch out for. This is why I don't trust them, because one mistake could cost that player's reputation as a player. And I just think that the agents, it's just greed. All they're in for is just for the money and making sure they've got the world-class players underneath their belt to give them the better reputation. They don't care about the fans. They don't care where the player plays. As long as they get that money in their pocket, that's all they worry about.
But surely, if the agent is the one trying to negotiate the contract on the behalf of his client, don't you think he should have some kind of, compensation for cutting the deal for his client, Richard? He
could do, but then my point would be after that would be, what about if that player doesn't even want to play for that team? What about if that agent is forcing that player to go to that team? So you're gonna make that negotiation for him to sign the deal for the money. Turns out he's never gonna be happy at that club. It's the wrong move to make. This is why I disagree with having agents in football, even having agents in your own club. Because if you have agents in your own club, what about if, like, let's say Edu, he had Willian, I believe, wasn't it? Agent for Willian. Look how that's turned out. That is the prime example right there. Edu is the agent for Willian. He's brought him into Arsenal. Look how that's turned out. This is why I don't trust having agents in football clubs or as the player to represent them. I don't. I think it's wrong. It's down to the player. He's the one. It's the player's choice. He's the one that's working his arse off every week for that money that he gets. But then the agent is taking the compensation out of it, and then the player's like, "Well, hold on a minute, I've earned that money for what?"
Gary, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part and parcel to professional sports that you have an agent, but like you said, you don't need to. And if the players are educated, and a lot of teams, a lot of organizations in the States, they actually will try to educate the players before they sign on the dotted line and sign up with an agent. They kind of give them a little background into what that means. And there's only really one reason to have an agent, and it has nothing to do with signing the contract. Really, you just need a lawyer for that. You don't need an agent. Your agent's just going to help you get more money to some degree. They're going to sell you and all of that, market you and all of that. But in reality, you can do everything you want yourself, besides getting a lawyer maybe to look over the paperwork to make sure that you're safe. And you usually can do that with a third party. And that's what sometimes you'll see, when the parents are involved, especially in the early days of a player, the parents will be involved, and they will, maybe get a third party lawyer to look over the paperwork, and that's all they need it for. And the agent is in there maybe, because they can get all the sponsorships and all those types of things. And that's depending on what type of player you are. If you want not only to just be known for playing football, but then also for whatever car dealership or, shirts and shoes and all that type of stuff, then that's where the agent comes in and helps you. But tell you the truth, if you're that good, it won't even matter. They're going to come to you. Nike and Adidas and any sports paraphernalia or wear clothing wear out there, they will come to you once you're that good. I mean, you look at a player like LeBron James. They were looking at him back when he was 16, so he could do whatever. If you're good enough, they will find you. And the trick is, if you just have somebody that you trust there, then that'll be okay. I think a situation where a player is working with an agent who's forcing them to go to a particular team, that's a disaster, right? That's like sending your kid to a particular university because that's where you went, and your kid's like, I don't want to go here. Basically, what's going to happen is the kid's going to fail, right? Because they don't want to be there, so they're going to not do what they used to do, not going to give you 110%, and their career is going to falter because of it. So it's, that's what happens in those situations. And then you see players kind of like, fall out, and you don't get to see them at their best because they've got too many other things to deal with. And that's when they need somebody they can lean on. And that's where the agent sometimes will help you out and sometimes they won't. I think it's, like I think we've said already, there is so much money in sports right now. It's tainting the game. It's not making it the same as what it used to be. Everybody playing for the crust on the chest, the name on the team on the front, the fans in the stands. A lot of that is going out the door, and it's more about, my bank account, the number of likes and subscriptions I got on my account and all that type of stuff. Nothing to do with the actual sport itself. So it's happening all over. The trick is, like you said, if De Bruyne is probably one of the happiest footballers out there because he doesn't have to deal with all that nonsense that a lot of these other players have to deal with. Dealing with, I can't wear this particular piece of clothing because I work for this company over here, and I can't drink that water because I sponsor this team over here. And it's like, it's too much. It's too much. And it's really and truly, you want to enjoy what you're doing on the field more than you want to be enjoying all your bank account as it grows and grows. But then your love for the game falters, and we see it, right? As fans, we see when that happens that they don't care. At some point, they don't care about us anymore because their bank account's too big. And that's the sad thing about sometimes you see that in sports, like they could care less about us, and we'll cheer for them, but they don't. And
we had a funny rumor here, Gary. We had a funny rumor in Colombia. Christian Orozco from Arsenal Online, remember me. We had a rumor that Falcao was coming to Arsenal. We have very happy in Arsenal Colombia because that was the rumor. I don't know in UK in your country you listen about that. But the funny thing here is that Mendes, you know, the agent of Falcao, Cristiano, and a lot. Mendes was playing with this card about that Falcao was coming to Arsenal because he was a Puma player, and Arsenal was starting the link with Puma because he was negotiating with Manchester United, and finally Falcao was a player in Manchester United and not in Arsenal. So he played this card, and you know that is not. I don't know. For me, it's dirty, but it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor.
I mean, that is a dirty side of sports. They play each other against each other. You're burning bridges, especially when it comes out, right? You're burning bridges as a player, and you know, you just usually just want to play, and that's the part that we don't like. We have to talk about. That playing, I don't like that at all, right? And then where is Falcon now, right? It didn't even work out. Right, he didn't even last that long there, I think, right?
He will play against Ozil. He is in Galatasaray. Just give him some. Sorry for saying the name. The forbidden name. Sorry.
Guys, I have to go into the live chat. Let me go into the live chat before we lose all our viewers. I've got Colin Young. This is, hey Alex, bring the chair easy. The chair easy. What's that? Got Sharifa. Sharifa says happy weekend, everyone, and the same to you as well, Sharifa. There's McLeod says happy weekend, Sharifa. And I've got to say, before I continue, it might not be possible for me to get through all the comments in the live chat because on the Easy Talk, it can be quite difficult. So please excuse me if I don't get to read your comment in the live chat, please. Who else do we have here? What's here? Oh, yeah, we've got Mark Deeney, who says, hi all, thank countries. It's Friday. Ashley D, one of my moderators, says, wow, party time. I need 2 monitors to fit all these dodgy geezers on. Be careful.
I don't know which is it, dodgy or geezers. I don't know which one I'm more upset about.
Oh, dearie me. Sober King, your nan, what do you think of the young centre-back Yuri Nato from Ajax? He can add squad depth. I've not seen too much of him, so I couldn't give a definitive response. Has anyone seen this player?
We have Saliba, we have Mauropanos coming. I don't know if he will fix it.
We've got McGuinness, and we've got a couple of other players out on loan. So I think right now, if you look at it, we've got about 6 players, and that's minus Luis, right? that should be coming into the squad, and we got to figure out whether or not we're going to keep them or not. So maybe we don't even need them. I mean, at this time, Arsenal doesn't have the money to go out and spend on center backs. I think we're set there. Midfield, let's get more midfielders in there, and then we'll talk, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Al? Do you know what? Going on to actually defenders, I was very disappointed that Arsenal sent out William Saliba, to be quite honest. I was very, very disappointed that they sent him out on loan. I thought he was decent enough to play in the team. Everyone was describing him as the new Virgil van Dijk, and he did show it in games that he played. He proved that he can keep his composure. He proved that he can clear the ball at dangerous times and get it out of the area. So I don't know why Arsenal sent him out on loan. Maybe to get more game experience, as he was still young. So maybe that's what they thought, and then we can gradually bring him in.
Richard is still very, very young. If you look at Virgil van Dijk's history, he was at 19 playing for Heerenveen, I think it was, in either the Belgian or the Dutch league. And he made a few club moves and eventually got to Celtic when he was about 23. And he started playing well there. And then he went off to, about 3 years later was when Klopp picked him up. So, you know, I think William Saliba, he's got years ahead of him, and Arsenal have spotted something in him, and they're doing the right thing. Loan him out again. He's got you know, he's lost his mum. He's got all those other issues going on. So I think he's one for the future. What I would worry about is at the moment, between now and the end of the season, David Luiz. Now, I suspect he's one of the guys that has been causing a few problems in the dressing room or behind Arteta's back. And in the last match against Southampton, I think somebody added it up. He made 5 or 6 very bad ricks where he passed the ball to the opposition. And I'm worried that he's not totally focused. I think he's what we call miffed. He's a bit kind of annoyed at the way all his mates are going, and he's one of the few that are left. I do quite rate him at 33. He's certainly keeping himself young and he moves about the pitch well, but I don't think his head's there. I don't think he's a true Arsenal man, and I'm worried that against Man U tomorrow we may not see a player who's committed to the cause. But having said that, if we bring in Gabriel, he's probably not match fit. He's had COVID, he's probably not match fit, so I don't think Arteta's got much of a choice there. But Holding's definitely worth his place. Oh, and it's worth mentioning that we've got the second best defence in the EPL.
In the Premier League, we have.
I was going to say one thing about Saliba. I have a feeling the Saliba deal is, we were just talking about agents and how things don't go as, you know, they should. They're not good for the team. That deal, I mean, he might be a good quality player in the future, but for the money we spent on him, if he's not good enough to even sit on the bench for us, then that's bad business for us. And, you know, that's the problem with the whole thing, is we can't afford to spend that much money on a player and he can't perform for us because, one, he's not ready, and thus he needs to go back out on loan. I think they should have either tried to resell him or something if they're not going to use him, because we need, like, you need like somebody like a Gabriel, right? Unknown, but he's got some experience playing professionally. You know, I thought Saliba had that, and I could definitely see him as a squad player. Right. I don't think he's a starter right now, and I don't think we want him to be one right now. But a squad player, I think he could do the job. Definitely could do the job. So
Let
me go back into the live chat, guys. I've got Ashley D. This guy's he's so cheeky. Dancing girls, Latex Alex giving us some moves. It's not gonna
Ashley, I told you stop using that name. He doesn't like it.
Eltel, are you a one-man band?
I can do it. I can work on my own or inside a band or in fact, we were going to start up a cannon fodder band. Didn't somebody say he was in the army or something, and he played brass instruments? And I'm sure Gary can play the old decks there. I'm sure Gary's pretty good on the old decks. You know?
I am not. Everybody in my house is musically inclined. I am not.
Well, you can be our agent.
I can do that. I know how to say no. We're going to need a little bit more. Put another 0 on the end of that. Yeah, I can say that.
Right. Des McLeod says, I have cerebral palsy and I have better footwork than William.
Absolutely.
Oh, Des, you do make me laugh. The Assembled says, good evening, panel. Good evening, panel. And Jonathan has put a comment.
I answer him.
Go on, Jonathan.
I answering him.
Yeah, okay.
Good afternoon.
And Diego Sandoval.
Hey, Diego.
I'm from Ecuador, South America. Yeah, I know it's South America. You're trying to give me a geography lesson. And I'm a big Arsenal fan. Go on, Jonathan.
Big guy, Diego, big guy. He's from Arsenal Latin Online fans.
Okay. Maybe one more before we go to the last topic. We have a lot of podcasts and channels in South America. which will discuss about Arsenal. Some of them are Arsenal in America, Arsenal Interactivo, Emisión Gana. Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic. Right, we are back in Europa League, Premier League action tomorrow against Manchester United. Yeah, goodness. Jonathan, how you feeling about the game tomorrow?
Why me? Why me? Why me? You know that I'm always positive about this, and in this time I cannot be positive because two things. The first thing is Kabbalah. Always that I have feel something good against a match, in a match against Manchester United, I always lost. The second is that we have the last 6 matches against Manchester United. We have not lost, and we have won a lot against them in Premier League. And you know, when Arsenal has this kind of numbers, normally do an Arsenal. So I think we are losing. Sorry for say this, but I think we are losing, and I think we are losing because Bruno Fernandes. So we have to try to stop him in the first 5 minutes. That is what we need. If someone taking out small, something like normal football, street football, normal, nothing seriously. In someone taking out of the field, we can win. But
Jonathan,
I don't want. I don't want. Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope, please.
Gary.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna continue a little bit from where Jonathan was, and then I'm gonna hopefully make everybody happy. Bruno Fernandes did not get a PK in the last game.
Oh, really?
I have a feeling he's got an extra PK in his pocket, so he's got 2 coming. I'm scared about that. That's the one thing I'm scared about. Other than that, the fact that they lost the last game, I always say I'd rather have everybody lose to us. Be it the first time, the last time, it doesn't really matter. I would like them coming in feeling good about themselves. Yeah. And then we beat them. So them coming in with a loss, I think will get them up for the game. Our health, if we're healthy, I think then I think we'll be fine if we're healthy. That's the trick, though. The trick is, are we going to be healthy? I mean, our defensive record, I think, is one thing that we can stand on. That's one thing that we've had all season. We just haven't been able to score. So if we can, at the least, have our defense, up to par, I think we'll be good. And my worst case scenario in the game is that it's going to be a 1-1 game. But if we get our healthy players back, so if Kieran Tierney's back, if Emile Smith-Rowe and Partey, those 3 players, if they're healthy for us and they can play 60, 70 minutes, then I think we should be able to get points out. We need to jump on them right off the bat. Yeah. I mean, we come out really slow in the first half. I don't want to do that tomorrow. I want us to come out for the first 45 minutes and get something out of that game. Go into halftime and talk about how do we keep the lead, right? As opposed to how do we defend and get something out of this game. I really want to be able to pull some of our starters out, because I don't think we're at the point where they can go 90 minutes, especially in a game especially with a Bruno. If Bruno's still out there with 20 minutes to go in the game and it's a 1-goal lead for us, I'm worried, or it's a draw at that point, because what's going to happen. Somebody's falling down.
Yeah,
somebody's falling down. That's the part that scares me. But
there is something. There is something that I would like to mention, and I feel something there. Like many years, I didn't feel it. Is Manchester United is in a good position in this thing, in this moment. Like many years, they didn't, and they feel the trust and everything. There is something very important for me to win. It's not only the Arsenal winning. It's the Manchester United losing against Arsenal. I need that. So I want that, but I don't want that hope. That is the only thing. But when was the last time that we feel this?
Well, first and foremost, I actually don't think that we're going to lose. I actually think we're going to win this game. If all of our players are healthy, as Gary mentioned, I think that we will be favourites to win this match, because think about it. Man United lost against Sheffield United, who are currently bottom of the league. So they're going to be thinking to themselves, how the hell have we lost against a relegation side who are currently at the bottom. So they got to try and pick themselves up. And I think that this year, Arsenal have already beaten Man United this season already. So who says that we can't go and do the double? And to top it all off, we're at home. And we've got a good record against Man United at home. So if we can win, then that'll push us further up the table and close the gap on Tottenham as well. And whoever is in that fourth spot. I do reckon that in this game against Man United, we need to come out with all guns blazing. We need to come out from the get-go and push them. If they get that ball, we need to press that ball. And the players need to mark their men, not ball watching. I know that Bellerin has done that recently, where Bellerin was in the Sheffield United game, in the Southampton game, he was ball watching. And it's not the first time that Bellerin's done that. So all the players need to mark their men, not to find out where the ball is. Just keep your head down, concentrate on your man and watch where he's going. Not worry about the ball. Because the more you mark your man, the better of your chance that you've got getting to that goal line first before they even think about crossing that ball into the box. So that's what we need to do. That should be the game plan. Is to come out with all guns blazing, hit them on the front foot. Because Man United don't like it when they go 1-2-0 down. They don't like it.
I think we've got an excellent defence, particularly if Tierney's back and we maybe play Suarez, Cedric at right back. A little bit worried about David Luiz, but apart from that, I think we've got a solid defence. We've got a solid midfield if we play Partey and Xhaka. And then up front, we've got a lot of things going for us. I think we might have found a place to include Pepe so that he can attack those half spaces. We've got Laka playing really well. And obviously, we've got Saka there playing brilliantly too. So I think we've got a lot going for us. But as you mentioned, you've got to watch Bruno. And the other thing is this penalty thing. We've got to be really careful because they are past masters at falling down when the ball is on the edge of the area. And referees are buying it every time. So if I was Arteta, I'd be talking to his defence and saying, be very careful because this is what these guys play for. They play for this penalty all the time. So I think we've got a good enough defence to keep a clean sheet. And at that point, then it's about whether we can get our midfield and forwards going. And I think we have a very good midfield now. I think the forwards are starting to click. And with a bit of confidence and going out, we tend to go out with a lot more power and hunger in the second half of matches. I don't know why. So we've got to sort that out. We did one match a few weeks back where we did play well in the first 10 or 15 minutes. Well, let's do that. Let's really come out. And if we can get an early goal, then it's all up for sort of grabs, you know.
So does your defence include David Luiz, or would you not play him tomorrow?
I don't think we've got an option. And I think Arteta's had to play it very careful because I don't think they really get on. And I think that Arteta doesn't want to call him out, but he's doing some silly things. He's the sort of guy, if his concentration goes, his game falls apart. I think he's miffed. Actually, reading between the lines, I don't think he's happy with the fact that Ozil and all the other guys that are his mates are going. And so we've got a query there about how committed he is. But I don't think we've really got an option because Gabriel needs more, he needs another week or two before he's up to speed. So I think we're stuck with David Luiz. But no, I think I can see us doing it. And I think if you're a good Arsenal supporter, you always go in with hope. And I don't see why not. But if we're going to have to be at our best.
I think I think there's one player that we need to that's going to be keep a close eye on. That's going to be Saka for us. I think he's one of the players that we need to watch, and what Man United need to watch as well, especially with Saka's crosses and the way he can cut into the 6-yard box as well, and to take the shots on. I think he's one of the players that Man United need to watch on our side as well.
Gary, here's a question for you in the live chat. Diego Sandoval says, do you think the match against Manchester United is a classic?
Right now, no. It might turn out to be when we play, but right now going in, no. I mean, it might turn out to be because they're trending down. I believe we're trending upwards right now. So it could be a clash of teams going in different directions. And, you know, I like to say we want to keep trending upwards. So we know, and we, you know, from everybody's discussion, our front four is pretty strong and can make, you know, it can get us lots of goals if they, you know, if things are going our way. So I think a classic, if a classic means that Arsenal wins 4-0, I'll take that. I want that kind of a classic. I don't want a 1-0 classic, you know. I don't want the stress. It's too much stress, you know. My heart can't take it. I want us to, you know, like we said, let's just get out early. You know, like we had a chance in the last game to score within the first 5 minutes, and we didn't do it. We have to put that home if we get an opportunity in the early part of the game, because we don't want them to even think they have a chance. No chances for them. Sorry, you don't get any opportunities. Can you hear me? Yep.
Yeah,
so that's
For me, it is.
Jonathan, for you, a classic tomorrow?
For me, it's a classic.
Ah, okay.
It's a classic. I think that for me is the most important because I knew about Arsenal due to Fox Sports, due to Juan Pablo Ángel playing in Aston Villa in '99. I knew about this the Premier League, so I started watching Arsenal on '99, '98, and you know the rivalry between them for me is the most special, Arsenal Manchester United. So for me, it's a very special play, a game.
It's funny you should say that, because the first cup I ever saw Arsenal win was against Manchester United in 1979. So for me, you know, Arsenal always playing against Manchester United, for me, is always a classic. But yeah, Eltel, what about you? Is it a classic for you, Tel?
Hold on, sorry. Did you see? Sorry, and this is out of the box. Did you see the fight again between Zlatan and Lukaku in the Inter and Milan, in the classic Milan-Inter?
Yeah.
Don't you miss that? Don't you miss Vieira fighting? Don't you miss that kind of atmosphere? Don't you miss?
Yeah. Like that was like the old Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have that player yet. Who's that player besides Tierney? And you know what? I can't have him getting injured. I need him healthy.
No, without injuries. Just the fight.
Without injuries. Without injuries.
just the atmosphere. Just the atmosphere. You know what I mean.
Terry, for you, a classic? Man United, Arsenal?
Well, we've seen some classics over the years, and the more pumped up Arsenal are for it, the better. So if I was Arteta, I'd be saying, boys, this could be a classic. Come on, but not classic, i.e., it doesn't work out for us, but a classic in our favour. You know, pump the players up, you know, because all of our best players pump themselves up anyway, people like Tony Adams and so on. But I think I won't mention the sort of W guy's name again, but he never looks pumped up at all. He looks as if he's pumped down. He's got a leaky tyre, and all his 4 tyres are running very low.
Yeah, dearie me. Mr. 999 says, I swear, LTL, the visual Godfather, gets younger and younger every time I see him. The fountain of youth, LTL.
I've got a painting upstairs, and that's the one that's getting old, and I'm fine, you know. The portrait of Dorian Gray, there you are, a bit of Oscar Wilde. You get everything on this. You get latex, you get Oscar Wilde. What else do you want? We got the lot.
Oh dear. Carlos Alberto Flores says regards from Arsenal Honduras.
Yeah.
Who else do we have here? Mr. 999 says, wait, the European Super League is not happening, right? That will completely ruin football. Yeah. Again, money in football is going to spoil everyone. It's really spoiled everything at Arsenal anyway, at least. Let's see if I can run through this very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, Tel.
I was just going to say, it's gone through the courts to Mr. 999. It's gone through the courts, and there's nothing stopping all the big clubs getting together, organising their own. They're going to call it the European Super League, and they're going to have Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Who am I missing from that? One more maybe. And they're going to be part of this big league with three teams from Spain: Madrid, Real Madrid, maybe Atleti, and Barcelona. This is going to be the choice fixtures of all time, and legally, it's gone through now that they won't be able to stop it. Now, what the heck that does for the grassroots of the game, I don't know. And what it does as well is it takes the money from the paying fans again, and it's going where? It's going into a Super League. And is that going to improve the stadium comfort and the comfort for the fans? I doubt it.
No. Ashley D says 4 players in our club share the same agent, including Edu and Willian. Conflict of interest, surely. There must be a conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. I say Josh and Part is conflict of interest.
Yeah, conflict of interest. Yeah. Wilbur Fire says, is Godfather going to play the piano again today? Tunes? Yes. Towards the end, he will be playing a little ditty for all of us, and Gary's going to be singing as well. Anyway,
yeah, that's right.
Nobody wants that.
I can do the claps.
So far, Arsenal have the second best defense this season. Just hope I just not jinxed it. Oh God, dare me! Don't jinx it. Who else do we have here? We've spoken about Odegaard. Do you think Odegaard will start? I don't think he'll start. I'll be very surprised if he plays tomorrow.
Yeah. Richard will like it.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll see him start tomorrow. Oh my God, what is this? This McLeod. Do you guys want Scrappy Doo back, aka Guendouzi? No, thank you. Nah.
I hope that he has a child, no? In the last month. Yep. I hope he gets more mature with that. I hope the mind change, and maybe Arteta can have a conversation, because the manager also has that role, human resources role. So I think if Arteta drives that situation, Guendouzi is a very good player for me.
Yeah, I don't think right now Arteta knows how to deal with Guendouzi at all. I don't think he knows how to talk to him. I don't think he knows how to, deal with a player like that and get the most out of him, get him to the line, but not cross it. And that's what we need. He needs, here's the line. You can go right up to it. You can look over it, but you can't cross it.
You can cross.
Guys,
I think on a similar level. Yeah. I think Arteta has real problems dealing with players who kind of tend to stand up to him. Now, those of us who've been involved in teaching are used to kids standing up to us, or young people standing up to us, and there are ways of dealing with them. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Alex, you and I have been involved in education. We've seen people like him. They've actually got a heart of gold, but he walked. You remember when he took a penalty? Was it in the Charity Shield? And he kind of walked up and he was moving this way, and he was a bit of a Cockney swagger and a bit of a cool kid, don't worry about this, don't worry. That's all part of the super cool vibe that you have to exhibit in the group of people he's grown up with. That if you don't have that card in your back pocket, you are in big trouble. So he's got this sort of manner, which I've worked with kids like him, and I've found a way to get them on side, and they're absolutely fine. I don't think it's interesting you mentioned Guendouzi, and now we've got Ainsley, who's a bit wayward as well. And there are ways of working with those people. And I was thinking of this. If you look at Arteta's sort of life in football, he's never really done that. I mean, I grew up in Islington. I know how those kids tick and that, but I found out so much more when I was in a position of responsibility and trying to get a job of work out of them. And I think Arteta, and I don't like criticizing anybody, but I think he needs somebody at his elbow saying there's another way of working with Ainsley, because he's got the raw talent, but that attitude is part of the street cred. You don't change that, because that's half of his bag. He wants to be Mr. Cool, and I worry that we're gonna. Apparently, he might be going to Southampton on loan. And I do worry that we might be eventually letting go one of our homegrown and really talented central midfielders. Not a left back, not a wing back, not in all the other places we played him. And of course, he knows that. He's not a fool. And he's told Arteta, I'm a central midfielder. And that sounds like a red rag to a bull, because Arteta doesn't want to know that, because he wants to play him anywhere else except where he's good at. So I do worry that we're going to lose him. And in a few years' time, he'll be playing as he has been for England and playing for a different club. And I think that would be a real shame. But I wish Arteta had somebody alongside him that knows how to get the best out of these guys, you know. And he'd be a hero amongst all of us who are from London. We meet these guys every day. We went to school with them, or, you know, and I don't find any offence in him. It doesn't mean anything. It's just his vibe, you know. So guys, I do worry that we've lost Quinton and Boozy. You know, sorry.
Listen, we've come to an end. We've come to an end. An hour and 20 minutes, Gary. And we mentioned latex at least 3 times. Not on my mouth. Anyway, guys.
It's Manchester United. It's Manchester United.
Yeah.
No, you know, Manchester United.
This podcast was sponsored by latex.
Richard, I thought you was my friend. Anyway, guys, listen, it's the end of the Easy Talk this Friday. We spoke about agents of power. Yeah, the game against Southampton, of course. Yeah, just speaking about Manchester United as well. We're playing against them tomorrow. Guys, Jonathan, thank you so very much for coming back on the Easy Talk. How is your baby daughter? How is she? Is she okay?
This is okay. It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's
a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. And Richard as well, your daughter, how is your daughter?
Yeah, she's doing great. She's 3 years old now. So, yeah, before this year. So, yeah, she's growing up too fast.
Gary, a pleasure, man.
It's a mute.
You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Oh, you know what? This wire keeps plugging out. So, no, Shane, thank you for having me on. Richard, good to meet you. Jonathan, same. Eltel and Alex. You know, I've seen you guys, you old timers with me. So, good having enjoyed my time here.
Brilliant. So whilst I'm saying my goodbyes, I think Eltel, you can quickly get me onto your guitar because Richard's got to go. Eltel's going to play a little ditty for us, and like I said, Gary and Richard and Jonathan are going to sing. Of course, I'm not going to sing. I don't sing. I never sing.
No,
I'm going on mute right now, so you don't even hear.
So when you're ready, Eltel. So those of you who
I tell you what came to mind before we went on air. Your wife quickly sort of shot past you.
Went past, yeah.
And I thought, you know what? This is what I suddenly thought of. Pretty woman, walking down the streets. In this case, we need latex. Lots of latex. We need latex. Lots of latex.
All right, guys. So that is the end of the Easy Talk. I will be back tomorrow morning, giving some more live news, 11 a.m. Yeah, no work, no rest for the wicked, actually. So, guys, if you've tuned in for the first time, make sure it's not the last time. And if by chance you've been wondering who or what you've been listening to, you've been listening to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.